In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate how to add products, how to configure our basic structure of the modal, right? The pop-up when we create on the details button, for example, our products should be displayed, and we should take a look at the details of the product. So let me scroll down to see our last line of code here. All right, so last thing we did was insert a footer. So let's navigate to our website to verify. Here's our site. Let me just quickly refresh. And here's our footer that we inserted in the last lesson. So I'm going to use some CSS to configure the footer, okay? Maybe use some color, maybe add some space because it's too close to the products, okay? So let's go to our code, open up our main.css, and then open the curly braces. And first I'm going to give it a margin to the top of, let's say, 50 pixels. And then use my background color, specify the background color to be the same as my nav bar, and then the color of my text should be white. Great. Save this, test it out, click reload, and now we have a nice footer and some space as well between the products. Perfect. Let's go to our code, open up our index.php. All right, next I'm going to create and talk about creating the details modal. So right after my div, I'm going to enter some spaces here so we can see. And first, of course, enter my comment. So this is going to be our details modal. All right, the way we go about creating our details modal for each of our products is first we create various PHP files. Okay, so within our tutorials folder, for example, I'm going to create several files relating to each product. And once we create those files, we will include those files within our code. So you can either create the files first and then include them, or write the code and then create the file. So either way, it depends on your own style. So here I'm going to write the code first, and then we'll simply create the empty files later. So here's my PHP script that I'm going to use. So here's my PHP. And I'm going to say include the details. I'm going to call it modal. And I'm using the naming conventions so we stick to our same convention. In other words, the name of the image, for example, here I have headband, so I'm going to use headband. So that way it's easier to follow, and as you build code, you make less mistakes. So my first product was Levi's jeans .php. Okay, so this is what I'm going to create as my first PHP. Put a semicolon, and let's include our next product and call it details modal -football. Okay, if I'm not sure, I can always go back, scroll up, and take a look at my football. Okay, I can copy it from here and scroll down and paste it. So just to make sure that we don't make any mistake or errors, and place a semicolon and do another include, and so on. So I'm going to fill this up quickly so it's easier for us to see and take a look at. So here, by the way, it's not JPG, it's going to be PHP, right? Because that's what we're going to be creating later on. All right, next is my details modal one more time, and this is going to be my watch.php. All right, so I've entered all my products here, for instance, and once I'm done, I can simply make sure I have my PHP and then bring my body and HTML tags up. And I can always write another comment here, specify end of details modal. Great. Save this, and next I'm going to create the PHP files within my tutorials folder. So just right click on the tutorial folder, click on new file, and the first name of the file is going to be the same name which says details-modal-levisjeans.php. Okay, so I can type, for example, details modal-levisjeans.php. So here's my first file. Similarly, I can simply copy to make things faster and make less mistakes. Right click on my tutorials folder, new file, and then create my next file. So I'm going to repeat the same steps for each of these files. Create a new file. And then my fourth product is my headband. Copy this, right click on tutorial, new file, and continue on to do the same for my rest of the products. And again, each product is going to have its own pop-up modal, right? So that's why we're creating each of these. All right, a couple more left here quickly. Just copy it, right click on tutorial, new file, and enter. And finally, the last PHP file is going to be our polo shirt. Great. So right now these PHP files are all blank, right? So it does not contain anything. The only thing to be careful and watch for is to make sure that the spellings and the name stay the same, right? So for example, if detail-modal-football.php, your code should also match to this. So in this lesson, I just wanted to demonstrate how to insert our products and create the PHP files for each of those products to build our modal for each product. So I'm going to close all of these details modal because these files are all empty. We don't need them right now. Great. In the next lesson, I'm going to demonstrate how to add code to each of these PHP files so that our product functionality is enhanced. So practice, and let's move to our next lesson.